On the menu is smothered pork chops with mashed potatoes and collard greens seasoned with smoked turkey. And for dessert, I'm going to make you a delicious sweet potato parfait. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is start with the collard greens, and I've already cleaned and chopped, and these are fresh collard greens. Okay, alright, and so what we're going to do, we're going to chop up one large onion. Let's get rid of this part here. And we're gonna just chop into chunks. They don't have to be diced or anything because they're gonna cook through this. All you have to do is just add that. Just add these onions onto the greens. And now I'm going to take some garlic and just chop those up. And add, there's a couple of chunks here, and add these on the greens. And then to season, I know some people, to season their greens, they'll take some fat back or some part of the pork belly and chop it up and put. But I'm not using pork or bacon in this dish. I'm going to use smoked turkey, and so let's do that. So what I have here is a nice large size of smoked turkey leg. And let me tell you, any type of smoked meat will do when it comes to seasoning your greens, whether it's smoked beef or bacon or turkey. But I'm using turkey because it's low in fat. Now I got to be honest with you, I'm not really concerned about the fat content, but to me any type of smoked meat is indistinguishable. So you just want to cut that up. And if you can cut as much as you can off the shank, you know, because you want the meat to be able to go around in the serving. You don't want all the meat just on on the one bone and nobody gets any meat. So let me cut that off. Okay, there we go. And believe me, it makes your greens quite flavorful. So I'm going to take that off, and what I'm going to do, now you don't throw that away, there's plenty of meat on here. So what I'm going to do is just put this at the bottom of the greens, and that's going to flavor that, and I'll just sprinkle the greens with this delicious turkey, smoked turkey. Okay, now let me just move this out of the way. All right. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is take my secret blend, which has some salt in it. Now the one thing that you don't want to do is over salt your greens, especially with this smoked turkey in it, because there's plenty of salt in this meat. But you're more than safe than using your herbs and your blends of the various herbs or herbs, which one you want to. You're quite safe using your favorite herb blend. It's a very dense vegetable, and it requires some water. So right now I've already added 4 cups. I'm going to do like another 1.5 cups. And we're good to go. I'm going to put it on the stove and let that give you a closer look here. Okay. So we're going to let that cook down, and cooking is going to take about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So we're going to move on to the fried pork chops. So we'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've already seasoned my pork chops to my specification. I've got 5 chops here, and so what I'm going to do, I've already prepared my little shaker bag with some flour, and I've got my oil going at a medium heat, and so let's get going. I think we can get 2 in there, so we're going to shake it up like that. Make sure the chops are well covered. Okay, and now we're gonna, let me just turn this around. Okay, we're gonna add our chops. Now what you don't, I'm gonna put 3 in here. And what you don't want to do is suffocate your pan, because the more stuff you try to shove in here, the longer it takes to cook properly. So I've got room for 1 more chop. Shake that up. And then when those are done, we'll add the other 2. So I'm going to let my chops cook, and I'm going to prepare for my mashed potatoes and my sweet potato parfait, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I have my pork chops cooking. They're almost ready to be taken out, and I'm going to finish cooking the pork chops. And we'll give you a look at those collard greens. Collard greens are cooking away with that delicious smoked turkey. We're going to let that cook down. Okay? And so I'm going to finish cooking my pork chops. And we're going to, once all the chops are cooked, let me just give you, once all the chops are cooked, I'm going to start the smothering process. Okay? And then we'll move on to my fluffy mashed potatoes and my sweet potato parfait. We'll be right back. Normally, after I removed my meat, and here are the pork chops here, I'm putting those aside. Let me get my mittens. Okay, these are the chops. And I mean, it's a personal preference. Not everyone likes smothered pork chops. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just smother 3 of them and leave the other 2 undone. But I want to show you, after I've removed most of the drippings from this. Normally I would have to do a starter roux, you know, with some flour and all of that. But as you can see, I don't have to do anything. The flour from the pork chops crisped into the grease, and it's plenty of it. So the only thing I'm going to do, because look at that, look at that color. That's a great starter gravy. Okay, so all I have to do now is just add my onions. Okay, and I'm going to let that sweat. Okay, I'm gonna, let me take away some of that oil. Okay, that's a lot of oil. Let me just remove some of that. Okay, now there we go. Okay, so we're going to let that sweat. What I'm going to do is cover that, and I want that nice, I want those onions nicely cooked, and then we're going to season it, season the gravy. Actually, let me do that right now. And you know, cooking is an alchemy. There's no set way of doing anything, really. I cook according to taste. Oops, excuse me. And I like to play with recipes. So I'm going to season that gravy. I added a little salt. I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to cover that before we move on to the gravy. Okay, let me just, I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, my onions have caramelized. It's just the way I want it. So I've raised the heat, and I want this roux to be, I want it to dry up a little bit. So let's let that go. And look at here. Let's move. As you can see, move this closer. The collard greens are almost ready. We're going to let that cook a few more minutes. Let's put this back on the other burner. Okay, now back to our roux, which I'm about to turn into some gravy. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add the pork chop. I'm going to smother 3 of them. Okay? And then I'm going to add my water. There we go. You're going to cook this at a hot heat until that gravy starts to thicken, and then you're going to reduce the heat. Okay. So we're going to cover this with some aluminum foil. Okay. Alright. As you can see here, I've cut up my sweet potato and a couple of white potatoes. White potatoes I'm going to make some mashed potatoes from, and my sweet potato is for the sweet potato parfait. Now I'm going to cook these. I thought about cooking everything in one pot, you know, but I don't want to commingle flavors, so I'm going to just use 2 different pots. One pot for the sweet potato, the other pot for the white potatoes. I'm going to chop these up into chunks and put them in their respective pots. And so I'll be back. Okay, we are back. And as you can see, we've got the sweet potatoes all ready to go. Let me just hook up my blender. Give me one moment. Alright, so I have my hand blender. Let me make sure I got a good shot here. Let me just... Okay, the first... Alright, the first thing we're going to do is add about a half a stick of butter, which is more than soft. Alright. Now before I move on from there, let me just show you something. I've taken some graham crackers and I blended it up, got it all crumbled, and that's going to be part of our parfait mix. I've already blended in my spices. I've got some allspice in here. I've got some cinnamon, and I have some nutmeg. And I'm gonna I'm actually gonna pour all that in here. I'm going to leave some out because I want to use the, let me pull a bit more. I want to use the rest as a garnish on top of the parfait. Next, we're going to do about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. If I can get this. Okay. Next, we're going to do about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. There you go. And then we're going to do some milk. Then we're going to blend it. Now, if you're on a low sugar diet, you can omit the sugar, but I am going to add a little bit of sugar. I'm going to use about a tablespoon. Actually, let's make it 2 tablespoons. Okay. There we go. And so we're going to blend, mix that in together. Okay, that's nicely mixed. So now, actually, I want to taste this. You see how that's delicious, if I say so myself. Let me give you a closer look at that. That's beautiful. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take our, actually this is a wine glass, but I mean you can use any a parfait glass, a wine glass, anything that looks fancy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, let me just grab a, the first thing we're going to do, that we're going to take our cookie crumbs, chop that up a bit. We're going to take our cookie crumbs and layer the bottom portion. Then we're going to take okay, so we're going to take about a tablespoon of this sweet potato mixture and layer that. Then we're going to take our whipping cream and layer that. And we're just going to just keep the process going. We're going to layer with the graham cracker crumbs. There's some chunks in there, but that's okay. Okay. And then we're going to layer on the sweet potato. We're going to add some whipping cream. And add some more. Actually, you can smash that down in there. Okay. And we're going to layer some more sweet potato. Doesn't that look beautiful? And then we're gonna, let me give you a better look. Then we're gonna top this off with some more whipping cream, like that. And we're gonna garnish it with this leftover spice. And there is our sweet potato parfait. Let me make some room. There it is. Okay, let's give you, so there is our sweet potato parfait. I think it's a nice twist on a sweet potato pie. Something different. There you go. And so now we're going to move on to our mashed potatoes, and we'll be right back. Okay, last but not least is the mashed potatoes. Okay, there we go. And see, and so what we're going to do is add about a stick of butter. Some salt, and some black pepper. Of course, you add to your own personal taste. I like a lot of black pepper in my mashed potatoes. There we go. There you go. And now we're going to add some milk. And then we'll blend. Of course, you can use a hand blender like I'm doing, or you can use a ricer. The little handheld tools to mash